Hello, everyone. This is Going Solo with Cece, and you're on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And I'm terribly sorry we're having a little bit of technical problems, so if we're hearing some background noise, I have no idea what it is, but we are not going to let that stop us tonight because we have a terrific guest with us all the way from Australia. For those of you that don't know me, I am the doyenne of relationship building, and that's what I really do, is connect other people together, really making an awesome connection, and we have a lot of fun doing it, as we are going to tonight. So our guest tonight is no other than, I am let me just bring up all her information so we have it. So here she is. Let's bring her right up into the stream, hopefully. There we go. Jasmin, how are you?
Well, very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you so much. We had a little bit of a glitch there, so I do apologize for that. But so that everyone knows, you're Australia's top glamour model of 2017. You're the finalist for the Australian Swimwear Model Search in 2017 for the Maximum Australia. And you're the best model in the Indian Australia Makeup Artist Contest in 2017. The finalist for the Country Girl Management Qualifying Finals in 2018. And of course, we all know that you are the Australian's top glamour model for 2017 and 2018 Playboy cover model and Playmate. And it is so great to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored.
Well, you know what? We are so honored to have you because you are just such an outstanding individual. For just a small amount of time, you have achieved a great deal in your career. So what has moved you forward into doing what you're doing, today? What got you into modeling, other than your beauty, of course?
Well, modeling was that I was always inspired by since I was a little girl. So it wasn't until I was actually 21 when I began modeling, and it was a bit of a spontaneous decision. So what happened was I came out of a very bad situation. I came out of domestic violence. So I think a lot of my life at that point afterwards was about recovering and doing things for myself. So one of the spontaneous things I decided to do was do a professional photo shoot, and I never looked back since.
That's great. So often, especially here on our show, we talk a great deal about going through struggles in life and then moving forward and really doing something that's exceptional and outstanding. And you've definitely achieved that. And, I want to thank you for sharing that with our audience, that, you have gone through those kind of struggles. And so what is it like a day in being a glamour model? What is that like?
Well, it's definitely an interesting experience. I mean, it can be pretty unique to, the average person, because in between shoots, I'm obviously promoting my stuff on social media. And basically, it's like, well, yeah, basically I receive a lot of DMs and I receive a lot of messages from all sorts of people. They can be very vulgar, they can be very flirtatious, and I guess it's just about, yeah, it's a very interesting journey. And when I'm on set, I absolutely love it. I love doing live modeling. I love, being sensual, sexy on the photo shoot set. So yeah, it's definitely a very, as the word says, glamorous and interesting experience.
Well, what I find interesting about it is the fact that it's a creative side. And so often people don't realize that when you're looking at the pictures, you don't realize all the work and effort that takes in order to really make a good picture. And so you have to be very creative in your poses and the way you look, your stance, and all of that. And so how long do you think it took you to kind of, be able to, embrace that and be able to do the modeling? Does it come easy for you?
I think a lot of people did say, like, as you mentioned before, that I did come a long way in such a short time. But generally speaking, from my experience, it definitely did not happen overnight. And it didn't come from just, doing nothing, or it didn't come just naturally, if that makes sense. Like it did in a way, but at the same time I had to put in a lot of effort. So like a bit of like modeling courses, one-on-one lessons, and of course I would practice my poses in the mirror at home. So it's definitely one of those things that you have to put a lot of training and time into.
You know, I can really appreciate that, because I know my granddaughter had wanted to get into modeling, and as you, I think she's beautiful, and it's a lot of work to do that. And those that don't really understand, just like any profession, yours is a profession that takes some skill, it takes effort, it takes being creative, because with each modeling shoot, it's going to be something different for you to be able, you know, you're going to have to wear different outfits, different makeup, the different, you know, vibe that's getting in that you know, in that pose that you have to do. So it's not just an easy thing for we look at your picture and think, oh, it's just, you know, a couple minute shot, but it's not. It takes hours, doesn't it, to do a photo shoot?
Well, it can. I think it all depends. Sometimes it depends on like both parties, or I should say all the time it does. So some photographers like to work very fast. They like to take their photos very quickly. So therefore, I guess you're posing more faster, and then as a result, the photo shoot may be as short as 2 hours. But I have to say, majority of like full-on photo shoots are at least 2 hours, and then they can extend from there.
That's terrific. Now, what are you thinking with regards to your career? Because you're now going into doing a lot of different things. You're doing some of what, I think I've read that you were doing some music videos and things like that. Am I wrong?
So I'm definitely doing acting on the side, and in that time I've done some music video roles, leading female roles, to be honest. So that was, you know, such an honor to be casted for those sort of things, especially when you do get the leading role. You know, it's a very flattering and very incredible experience. So I've done a couple of those. I've done a couple of commercials as well. So yeah, I've done a lot of, I actually have done a reasonable amount of acting or like film gigs on the side as well. And I definitely aim to progress more in the television and film industry.
Now, what are you doing for that? Are you having to take additional acting classes or anything like that to be able to kind of go smoothly into that field?
Well, yeah, definitely. I'm at acting school right now, so I'm doing a Cert 4, and then I might be doing some additional short courses on the side to, I guess, gain, you know, refine my skills, get extra knowledge. So acting is a really fun, and again, it's a very fun, but it's an adventure that requires a lot of effort as well. So it's definitely not an overnight thing either. So but you know, I love acting, I love modeling, they are my passions, so I'm willing to put all the time and effort I need. And yeah, so besides that, like anything, it's about building my acting resume as well, looking online, any tips, especially in terms of getting casted, because getting casted is often the most dreading or most difficult part, as a lot of beginner and advanced actors know. So yeah, it's definitely a huge journey, and I kind of see my career now as both being a model and actress, because now it's kind of worked in with each other. Because often I will have when I have to submit a resume on Media Kit, it will mention that I'm doing A, B, C, and D, and in my case, it's obviously more than just acting. So they know, you know, what I'm doing and who I am. So it's nowadays I see my career as one whole thing, with acting, modeling, and all the other stuff that I'm doing.
Well, it's very, very exciting, and it's thrilling, you know, to think that maybe we can help you. So how can we do that? If we go like on your Facebook, your social media, and we like things and follow you, will that help you progress in your future?
I think it definitely will, as most people do know. Yeah, engagement, popularity definitely helps. It helps you stand out from the crowd, and definitely from a digital marketing perspective, it does, because then the more people like and engage with your content, the more discoverable you are. So yeah, it's definitely a good thing for any fans or anyone listening to this to head over to my social media and yeah, like and follow.
Absolutely. We'd love to be able to support you every way we can. So let's talk about being a woman and in this type of field. Now, we have heard, of course, all of the things that have come out in the movie industry, with regards to, inappropriate behavior. And so what do you think as far as being a woman stepping forward now in today's life, moving forward into that world?
Well, it can be very difficult, and unfortunately, and I know this from a general perspective, not only in the film industry, sometimes it can be really hard to even report someone, whether you're female or male, or in this case specifically female. And when someone does something that's kind of tacky, kind of inappropriate, it can be very, very hard to report that sometimes because all depending on the laws or how the police deal with it. A lot of the time people could even say something rude to you, not necessarily touch you, but it still makes you feel uncomfortable. So it's like, I'm not saying people should get away with doing that. It's just that the fact that people get away with doing a lot of that is actually pretty concerning as well. And I can understand that, when people try to flirt, that it could come out the wrong way, but at the end of the day, I guess to be a good adult or a good person, you should know the difference between being vulgar and being I guess somewhat polite. So I guess like I can already, based on stories that I heard in and out of the film industry, it can be very hard to determine what's really the right way and what's not. So it can be even sometimes confusing. But yes, when it comes to any sort of like physical or sexual assault, that's definitely not on. And unfortunately, a lot of people still experience that. But there was a little bit of positivity that I saw on the internet the other day, and it was that, well, this person believed in the article that it wasn't the fact that sexual or physical assault is increasing as such, is it's that we're hearing more about it, and perhaps people are, because of the internet, people are recording or making comments about it, which is kind of a good thing in a way, in the sense that it's shedding some light on situations and perhaps people that are doing the wrong thing out there. So it's it's a very interesting concept, but it's definitely not cool when you as a woman enter an industry and you're experiencing things that are making you feel uncomfortable and you're not too sure what you need to do about it. Because like I said, it can be very confusing depending on what the scenario is.
Yeah, I totally get that. But I'm hoping that in today's world, now that changes have kind of taken place, that you'll be stepping into an arena that has been cleaned up a little bit and a little bit more awareness is done. So you'll be a little bit more protected as you go forward in your career, especially, with your background of having domestic violence. It's and having to endure that. I hate to see something, you progress into a field that, would possibly hurt you again. And so we hope that certainly doesn't happen, and that we inspire you to continue your quest for, bettering yourself and moving forward in life. That is so wonderful. I'm just so amazed that and again, it just seemed like such a small time that you've accomplished so much. So your drive and your vision for yourself must be extremely strong. So can you tell us a little bit about that, your drive and your vision for your life? I mean, do you have this? Do you wake up in the morning and have this can-do type of attitude? Or do you just want another hours of sleep?
Well, I mean, we all have those days that are not so great or worse than others, and that's fine. That's completely normal, no matter who you are. But I definitely can say that I have a lot of determination. I have a lot of drive. As I said, acting and modeling are my passions. Everything that I'm doing is my biggest passion. But at the same time, it really resides inside me, and it's extremely important to me. And I definitely learned that a lot throughout my life, that you shouldn't waste every day, or you shouldn't waste your life generally in doing the wrong things or in letting someone else waste your life. Like in my case, when I had the domestic violence experience, I definitely learned a lot at that stage, and I definitely learned that you shouldn't take your time or again, your life for granted. And I definitely learned self-value in that as well. So since then, I've been more confident in myself, not only as a model, but just as a human being, as someone who is living and on this earth like anyone else. And that's the thing. Sometimes we tend to not really value ourselves as a person, and therefore we don't allow ourselves to do stuff, if that makes any sense. Some people think that they're not worth, or they're not good enough to have a career in this, or they're not good enough to have all the best things, and that's not the case. It's just about having confidence in yourself, doing the right thing, and achieving your goals. And I can definitely say I've been doing that nonstop since I started my career.
That is so well said, and I love it, and I really think you're such an inspiration for everyone. I mean, males included, because I think when we decide in our lives that there's a career path we want to take, or something that we want to move forward to, if it's just an inspiration of something we've never done before, you thought out of the box, and you've just made it happen for yourself, and that's really a wonderful thing. So do you have a team around you that kind of helps program your day and get the jobs for you, and how does that work in your particular field?
Oh, definitely. Like, I've had a team behind me since day one. I've had a manager since day one, and it kind of all fell into place by coincidence. So it was like, I started modeling. I had, huge support. My boyfriend at the time became my manager. And it was just like, it was a bit difficult for my family to understand at first, admittedly, but then they kind of, I guess, understood how far I was going when I started succeeding more and more. And yeah, I mean, I've had a team behind me. I've had my own drive I've had my own drive to put effort in. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about having the right people around you and the right team behind you. And, people aren't perfect either, but at the same time, and I learned this as well, sometimes from a business perspective, you do also have to even question the people that you work with, because unfortunately, and this isn't only about, about the salt and stuff like that, but sometimes people can just be unprofessional, and they're not putting the effort that should be put in. So at the end of the day, you need to treat it as a business too. And if the people that you're working with aren't doing their part, then they're not really worth working with. So sometimes it's about that discovery part as well. You'll find out along the journey, who are the right people to work with and who aren't. So it's very interesting, but like I said, it's like a business, so you have to be very particular in that way too.
That's very good information. So tell us a little bit about yourself personally. So what is your favorite thing to do when you're not working?
When I'm not working and I'm relaxing, for example, I'm passionate about healthy and cosmeceutical skincare. So I love doing face masks. I love doing my skincare routines, which I tend to do day and night. I love taking care and investing in myself, and skincare is definitely one of them. In fact, I highly recommend investing more into your skincare than your makeup, because your skin is like the foundation, the base. So if you have really good skin, doesn't matter what makeup you use, most of the time, you'll find that it will sit on very well, because you've obviously taken care of your skin. So that's something I'm very passionate about, and I'm starting to do in my spare time as well. I'm doing a lot of beauty product reviews in videos. So people can check that out on my video channel and on Instagram.
Oh, that's great to know. And you know what? You're so right with that, because if you take care of your skin when you're young, as you continue and get older, it just helps it. It just increases that. So it's wise to tell the youth to take care of their skin now. And I'm from Florida. You're from Australia, so I know you get a lot of sun and heat. So yeah. So it's definitely something that we need to take care of and do, for sure. So what type of music do you like?
I love a lot of type of music. Like, I don't have a specific genre. However, I listen to a lot of deep house, and it's a bit of a unique genre that not many people listen to. Like, most individuals will listen to the mainstream stuff that's on radio, which is fine. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of deep house, and I find that the whole music, or the whole composition of their songs is very unique.
Oh, that's neat. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience about yourself, like your family? How many people are in your family, and do you have any brothers, sisters?
Oh yeah, like we're a pretty diverse family. Like I myself, I'm half German, half Persian. So obviously, I do have half brother and sisters though, because my parents are split up. So yeah, I have a half brother and sister. I have a Yeah, and I also have another half sister who lives overseas, and we have family like spread over in Germany, Iran, in the US as well, actually, funny enough, and several other places in Europe. So we're very, yeah, we're very diverse.
That's nice to know. And that's kind of fun too when you have a family like that. So what would you say is your favorite holiday?
My favorite holiday, oh, that's a good one. I'd say Christmas. It's just a very good time to get together with your family, and it usually involves a lot of nice gifts and food. So, I definitely love that day.
Mhm. And is there a particular food that you like the most?
Well, I have to say, like, it tends to change, but I love drinking tea. I love tiramisu, as in the cake. And I love festanjan, which is a Persian curry dish. So, yeah, I love those sort of foods.
Yeah, that sounds great. So tell us a little bit about, I would think you have to keep in shape, right? So you probably have a routine that you do. Do you have a fitness routine that you do?
I used to have a very strict routine. Admittedly, it's been very crazy with running around doing all these projects and being at acting school. But otherwise, on average, I go to the gym about four times a week, and I tend to stay there for a little while because some people just kind of walk in and they walk out, which doesn't really do anything if you want maximum results. In terms of my diet, I guess it depends, but I don't really eat a lot of gluten. I tend to eat only lean proteins most of the time, at least, and I just try to keep things simple. All the time, people will have a dish and they'll have all sorts of things on the plate, but at the end of the day, you only really need your carbs and your protein and your vegetables or fruit. And if you add it any more than that, then that's when things can kind of start to get a bit unhealthy, and you can, yeah, get on. It basically doesn't help in terms of keeping in shape.
Right. You're absolutely right. So what about joy in your life? So often I know that we travel through, especially we have a lot of relationship loss in our association here, in our station, and those that are always searching for some joy in their life, something that gives them pleasure. And I know you love what you do, but other than that, is there anything else that you kind of enjoy doing?
Like I said, I love taking care of myself, as much as that sounds a bit funny. I'm one of those people who are very busy. So when I get the time to relax, I love it. I love watching comedies. So
Okay.
even if it's a TV film, I really enjoy watching movies, and I love traveling because I feel that every time you travel to a place, whether it's overseas or within the country, you're usually having an amazing time. And yeah, whether it's outdoors or to a different city, I just love seeing new things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's nice to know, get to know you. And that's why we ask those kind of questions, is so that we can understand really what makes you tick. Because, working as hard as you're working and doing what you're doing is really outstanding. And so there's a woman behind all of that. And so we want to, embrace that and enjoy, what you're doing. And so that we can follow you throughout your career and embrace what you're doing and try to hopefully, as best we can, help you move forward in your career and everything. Do you write at all? Are you a writer? Do you journal or anything like that?
I actually enjoy writing. I think it can be, very fun. At the same time, it's good to, write in terms of promoting yourself. Because often, whether it's for social media or even if it's a blog or article, often creatives don't know how to professionally write about themselves, which I think is a huge downfall. Because nowadays, a lot of things are kind of done by yourself. Not all things, but especially in terms of social media, you don't have not everyone has like a social media manager who does everything for them. So it's good to know how to professionally write about yourself and your brand, and, don't make yourself look corny, if that makes sense. So it's very important to. And I'm actually now the beauty editor of 𝑣𝒐𝒅𝒐𝒂𝒍 magazine. I think they're in the US as well. So I'm very happy to be doing that because it's just another little pathway that I enjoy doing.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I think it's so important to keep a journal, write some of the things down, because when you look back in your life, you have some of those things written down, and you amaze yourself as to how you've gotten through some of the things you have and traveled through those. And it also is a bit of inspiration to take you to the next level. So you're going to go into the acting. Is there any one particular actor you'd love to be with, you'd love to act with?
Oh my gosh, that's actually an easy one. So if my celebrity crush, admittedly, is Leonardo DiCaprio. To act alongside him would definitely be a dream come true. I think that would be, yeah, very incredible. So, but there's definitely a lot of female actors as well, like Scarlett Johansson. I think she's very talented and very pretty. So I think it would be nice to act with her as well.
Oh, that would be exciting. So we hope that will happen for you, because we'd love to see that happen. Well, is there any advice you can give our listeners out there that are just starting into the modeling field? They're just doing, like when I was a kid, they had these contests and things like that, the local contests, and I entered a few of them. I won a firehouse contest one time, beauty contest. And so is there things that the young people can do to start helping their career? Because it's just really amazing. I mean, I know that you have worked hard to get to where you're at, but you have done it in a remarkable time. I mean, I have heard of those that have taken years and years to accomplish. And so is there any one suggestion that you could give to them as they start out their path of being a model?
Honestly, it's always one step at a time. Nothing happens overnight, despite how quick things can progress. It's really about putting in 200% effort. To give the basics, when you're starting out, you're starting out. So I guess unless you're very fortunate and you come across a very good agent, don't expect things to happen right away, like, earning top gigs or walking on major runways, for example. You definitely want to invest in yourself, and I guess one of the biggest things is investing into your modeling skills. So often you can do workshops, one-on-one lessons in your area, or perhaps nearby, depending where you are. Often the internet can help as well, but I think it's very important to learn face-to-face from an expert, because they are going to be able to teach you more than the internet, in my opinion. And I can definitely say that because that was the first few things I did when I started modeling. I did a professional photo shoot to try it out, and then from there I was like, you know what, I really want to take this seriously. And that's when I started doing my research and investing in those courses and those lessons.
Yeah, you're very bright, and you can definitely see it. It's, you're just going to go places, and it's amazing that, you have you're so beautiful, and you have such a wonderful business mindset at the same time. And it's amazing, that we as women can step forward into the life that we want to have. So, and you're really doing all the things that you need to be doing. You've gotten a team together. Education is a key for you. So it's very, very important for young people to understand that in order to be able to move forward in their lives, they have to train and know their field and do that, but embrace those around them, which you have certainly done. So it's amazing. A lot of times we hear of, and forgive me, and I apologize if I don't want to insult you, but a lot of times we hear glamour model, supermodel. A lot of them think they don't have a brain in their head, and that's totally the opposite. And totally of anyone out there in the acting field or in the modeling field or any of those, it takes hard effort. It takes calculation. It takes a business mind. It takes being friendly and fun and all of those things. So I really commend you for stepping forward and being the woman that you are. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future. I just think it's going to be awesome. So it's wonderful. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you so
Oh, you're welcome. So is there anything we can do other than connect with you on social media? Now you're doing the videos for skincare. Are you going to go into any other lines like makeup or fitness products or anything like that, do you think?
Well, I'm doing a lot of different videos. So from time to time, I'll go live on my social media channels, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. It depends on the kind of event I have on. And usually I will give a heads up that I'm, doing this and I'm going to go live at this time. Otherwise, in terms of actual series, I'm doing the beauty product series where I will review a different skincare product each time. At the moment, I'm collaborating with Drunk Elephant, and they can be found in Sephora and at a lot of other major beauty stores. And I think other than that, I've got topics with Jasmine, fan question of the day, and those can be very interactive because fans can submit their topic suggestions. They can submit their fan question, and that's when I'll mention their name and where they're located. And so I do have my online reality web series, and that will be premiering either in March or April. So that's a huge project that I'm working with. So there's a little bit of a delay on that because of all the behind the scenes work we have to do, but that will be slowly coming in on my Daily Motion channel as well.
Oh, wonderful. You'll have to let us know so we can send out a shout out or something and make sure everyone knows about it. That would be awesome to do that. So I know I'm getting nudged a lot here. So I'm being nudged as to what about are you single? Are you in a relationship? Are you dating? What's happening in your personal life?
Well, you know what? I'm keeping things very simple at the moment. So I am everybody. I'm just really focusing on my career and focusing on all the important things that I'm doing right now. And I have to admit, especially from my experience in the past, I'm very fussy about who I be with, and that's because, again, from what happened to me. But I have to say that it's just very important to take care of yourself. And whilst that may be the case, when you are with somebody, or you do want to date someone, make sure that they treat you with the same respect. And respect is a big thing for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand that, and you're so right. And is there any advice, because this happened to you, this domestic violence happened to you? Is there any, and I know that those are listening out there, are there any advice that you'd like to give them on your recovery from that you'd like to share?
Well, it's definitely an interesting journey, interesting in the sense of, all the things that can happen. So I guess it's, interesting but tragic. And what I can definitely say is that you have to seek help when you need it. And that could be simply after, it doesn't even have to be physical assault. If you find that the person, whoever you're with, is being rude to you verbally, like being very vulgar, that's still a very bad thing. So, seeking help could be a counselor, like a relationships counselor, it could be a family member, it could be a very close and trustworthy friend. It could be, any sort of industry professional. Sometimes, of course, it can be a very terrible situation, and that's where the authorities, such as the police, have to get involved. And usually the sooner the better, because you don't want to risk your safety at all at any point. That's the biggest no-no. If your safety is being compromised or you feel that it's about to, then definitely get out of that situation and definitely get the help that you need.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing that. That's very important. And, it's the relatability and being able to share, some of the journeys that we take in our lives with other people to help them through is really, what we're all about. And I know that you're stepping out of something that's not so comfortable for you and sharing that. And so I do appreciate that. And I hope that everyone that's listening, if they are in that kind of position, listens to you and pays attention and get help and talk to someone and move forward in their lives. So I want to thank you for that. I'm excited about your future and all that is going to happen to you. I know that great things are going to be there for you. Is there any last words you'd like to share with our listeners tonight?
Yeah, definitely. As I always say, or one of the biggest pieces of I guess, quotes that I live by and work by is reach for the stars and you'll be there among them. So the higher you aim, the more effort you put in, the more likely you are to succeed, even if you're only halfway there. And yeah, not putting effort in is definitely the biggest thing that you don't want to do. And yeah, in the meantime, if anybody wants to see more of my inspirational words or, you know, my latest photos and so on, definitely give me a follow on social media. My reality web series will be exclusive to Daily Motion, so it won't be anywhere else. So if listeners want to view that, all they have to do is look up Jasmin Shojai TV and yeah, subscribe.
Well, that is very exciting, and I can't wait to do that. I'll definitely do it. I'll watch you, so I think it'll be kind of cool. Definitely cool. Well, I want to thank you so much for reaching out to us and being here on the station. It means a great deal to us to have you. We're very honored, and we know that you've worked very hard to get where you're at today, and you've accomplished a great deal. I mean, there's many things that you've done, and you know, being on the cover of Playboy, being a Playmate of the Year is very prestigious, and so I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
No worries. Thank you so much. I'm truly honored.
We're honored to have you. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close out the show, and I want to thank you so much for being with us. Everyone here, you guys are listening to Going Solo with 𝑐𝒖𝒓. You're on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the #1 internet singles talk network. As you can see, we have awesome guests, and we hope that you will email me if you'd like to listen to any particular guest. We'll reach out and have them on board. Our email is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com, and our website is goingsolomedia.com. Of course, you know I have my 2 sites, which is goingsolonetwork.com and Going Solo Next Step. Please join me there. We hope to connect everyone, all the singles, to be able to move forward in their lives, and that's what it's all about. You know, today's show was really, I think, outstanding. Jasmin is truly a professional in her own right. She's the top Australia Glamour model from 2017 and the 2018 Playboy cover model and Playmate. I mean, she has won tremendous awards. Australian Top Glamour Model 2017. She's a finalist for the Australian swimwear model search for 2017. And I mean, gosh, this is a truly awesome opportunity. And so I hope you guys will follow her on her new quest that she's starting. And she's going to be becoming an actress, moving forward in her lives and really moving through to living her best life. So that's what it's all about right here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did, getting to know one of these wonderful ladies, this beautiful lady that's going to move forward in her life to really conquer and achieve all that she's set for. So I hope you can do that too. We're right behind you. Bye for now.